thought that your relationship was a committed relationship. Once you find out, you have to go through all the stages. You have to go through the anger. You have to go through this aspect of mourning because what you thought was there is no longer there. And then once you move through the anger, once you move through the mourning and that level of sadness, then you have to start to rebuild. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Spiritually Fly. I'm your host and your guide, Faith Hunter. By listening or watching this podcast, you are taking steps to rebuild your life, learn ways to courageously live out your dreams, or maybe you're here to unlock your potential. You know why you are here, so let's drop into the power of self-healing and step into a place of self-care. Along the way, I'll provide you with science-based yet spiritually grounded practices that will enhance your life and elevate your soul. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Spiritually Fly. This is episode 4, and I am your host, your guide, Faith Hunter. I am so delighted you have decided to click and drop in today because today's episode, babies, this is about forgiveness. Forgiveness is probably one of the hardest things for us as simple humans to do. It is hard for us to forgive other people. It is hard for us to forgive ourselves. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about. Now, if you've followed my podcast, you've listened to a couple of episodes already, you know that I'm probably going to read something from my book because forgiveness is definitely in my book, Spiritually Fly. And I go through a couple of ways on how you can move through that. Along with reading a passage today, I am also going to share a little personal experience. And then, of course, towards the end of this episode, we're going to move through a practice. That's right. We're going to drop into a little breath work, and I'm going to have you think about something, someone, some trauma, baby T, big T, that may have happened in your life. So let's just dive right in to the read. So again, I'm reading from my book, Spiritually Fly. So for those of you that are watching this, you kind of saw me go, floop, open up the book. But if not, all good. Okay. Forgiveness. And if you have a copy of my book, you can actually grab this. I am reading from page 23. This is in chapter 1, sutra 1, which is lead with love. It's the very first section in my book because I feel that love is the foundation of everything. And let's just talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is connected to love, right? Forgiveness is connected to love. And so in this section, it's titled, Forgiveness is My Teacher, Love is My Guru. Forgiveness is one of the most divine expressions based in and completely rooted in love. In order for us to give and lead with love, we have to release hurt feelings and stop blaming ourselves when things go wrong. We will make mistakes, and there's nothing worse than holding on to the past and allowing it to negatively impact relationships with yourself and with others. After trauma, we naturally shield ourselves from future harm. And our fight or flight response kicks in when we are triggered. When the wall goes up, the emotional poison seeps deep into the subconscious. And this makes it challenging to fully love ourselves. I often say, and I actually mention in the book, love is probably the greatest gift that you can give yourself. I'll say that one more time. Love. I often say that forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself. I'm going to say that one more time. Forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself. So, as we all know, when something has happened, right? Maybe someone has caused harm to us in some way, they've broken our hearts, right? I mean, talk about love, right? In relationships. I don't know. I've been cheated on. You've probably been cheated on. Um, I don't know if you've ever had money stolen from you. I've had that happen to me as well. Or, maybe there was a trauma in a situation that happened when you were younger. So later on, maybe one of the things that happened to me is that I didn't quite remember some of the trauma that happened to me in my younger years. And so as an adult, years later, I had to move through forgiveness. Now, I will say that forgiveness is not just challenging, but because we are so emotionally attached to the situation and the trauma, because possibly we cared for the person that may have caused us harm, or we thought highly of the person that caused us harm, or there is so much hatred, right? So even if you didn't know the person, there's so much hatred, fear that's attached to the trauma that it's almost impossible for us to forgive. So regardless of where you are sitting in that path, right, or that lane, or your inability to forgive lane, we have to find a mechanism. We have to engage a tool in order to move past. Now, moving past doesn't mean, or forgiving doesn't mean that you forget. It simply means that you allow yourself to release the attachment and release the trigger that is keeping you from forgiving. So you have to release the attachment, release any triggers that may show up that remind you of that situation, and then you're able to move forward. Now, you're probably wondering, oh, Faith, how can I possibly do that? Well, one of the ways that I have found that really assist me is definitely meditation, right? Meditation, breath work also really helps me. Journaling, which we're going to do today. And the other thing, therapy. Let's get real. Like, it is so important. Definitely therapy is like a buzz right now, and everyone's like going, oh my God, I need therapy, I need therapy. But I think that even if you go to therapy, you need to be very specific about what you are working through. Therapy is not just this opportunity for continuing to move in the loop of the trauma or continuing to relive the trauma. It is an opportunity for you to reshape how you handle the trauma and the triggers related to the trauma. And that's actually what meditation and breath work and intentional journaling does as well. So let's talk a little bit about how difficult it can be to move past cheating. And I'm laughing because I don't know about you guys. I have been cheated on more than once in my life. And at the time that I am actually recording this, and one of my favorite women, massive girl crush from back in the day, you guys know who I'm about to say, you know who I'm about to talk about, is our girl, Nia Long. Talk about hot, sexy, dynamic, powerhouse, an amazing actor. I mean, she's awesome. Women love her, men love her, everybody loves her, doesn't matter what age, everybody loves Nia Long. And you're thinking to yourself, I mean, and I thought to myself, I was like, what? Okay, so we already went through knowing that, our girl Beyonce was cheated on. And we handled that. We're like, okay, she found a place of forgiveness and was able to move forward. But dang, Nia Long? Like, really? So, anyway, how can she, how have I able, right? How are we able to move past cheating? How can we find a place of forgiveness? It requires this deep, powerful inner work. And I find that it has to move in stages. So once you find out or you experience, and then I didn't intend for this episode on forgiveness to just be about cheating, but it's on my mind right now. So once you find out that you've been cheated on, right? Your partner or someone you love dearly, right? Or you're in a relationship and you thought that your relationship was a committed relationship. Once you find out, you have to go through all the stages. You have to go through the anger. You have to go through this aspect of mourning because what you thought was there is no longer there. And then once you move through the anger, once you move through the mourning and that level of sadness, then you have to start to rebuild. Now, if you choose to stay in the relationship, then that rebuilding may involve rebuilding a relationship with that person, right? Reconnecting, reestablishing, creating some rules and guidelines. I'm not a therapist, but this is how I've moved through it. But if you choose not to stay, or if you choose to stay, you also have to rebuild your inner worth and your inner value, while at the same time releasing and letting go of the anger, the disappointment that you have experienced, the disgust, right? All those feelings, you have to figure out, how can I let go? And so many times it can be challenging because we are being constantly triggered. So I often find that, again, meditation, doing some breath work, and then moving through a state of journaling in combination with therapy can really assist you, and has and continues to assist me in moving through stages and moving through that horrible process and stepping into that sense of freedom on the other side of forgiveness. Because when you're not holding on to the anger, the disappointment, when you're not even holding on to shame, right, around the trauma, once you release that, then you feel much lighter. You feel so free. You feel so open. And you have the ability to step into your fullness. Because one thing that does happen When you are traumatized and someone causes harm to you, again, our human condition puts us in this place of shame and fear, creates often these moments of anxiety. And with all of those emotions, our level of self-worth starts to slowly drop. So we have to rebuild. We have to rebuild what's inside. We have to rebuild ourselves. We have to create this beautiful foundation of self-love. And what happens is that the ability to forgive opens up this portal that enables your heart to step forward filled with love, gives you the ability to lead with love, to walk with love, to be in a state of love of self. All right. Whew. So again, let's go through that. You want to move through all of your stages: anger, fear, frustration, disgust. Go through the mourning, be sad, like feel all the feels. And do it at your own time, right? At your own pace. And even when you're moving through those places, that's when I really want you to grab a therapist, right? Because you don't want to get stuck in those places. You want to cry, you want to scream, you want to yell, you want to do all the stuff. And then once you can find a little glimmer, a little light of hope, when you're like, okay, I'm not triggered as much. Now it's time for me to rebuild. Now it's time to reconnect to what is true and authentic within myself. And what often happens is that the aspects of forgiveness start to bubble to the top. You're able to forgive that person. You're able to forgive yourself if there was also some of your hula happening in the mix. And you're able to move forward. And when you're triggered, months later, years later, it doesn't feel the same because you are not moving along that same path. You've established a new foundation. You've given yourself the gift of forgiveness. And you have established a new lane of self-love. All right. So wherever you are, remember, if you are listening to this in the car or you're busy right now and you're unable to join us in this quick little practice, no worries. You can always come back. I want you to find a nice, comfortable seat. And before you find that comfortable seat, grab a pen and paper. Or if you have your phone, grab your phone, use that as your journaling prompt. What we're going to do first is to drop into a little breath work. We're going to do left nostril breathing. And left nostril breathing is the perfect, I find, the perfect breathing practice to calm and soothe the nervous system, right? Left nostril breathing assists me in navigating anxiety when I am angry and frustrated, when my mind is moving through all of those loops and the possibility of forgiveness is so far away that I can't even see the light. Like I'm in the hole. Drop into left nostril breathing. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your right hand, close all the fingers, and your right thumb is going to cover your right nostril. So that means you are only breathing in and out of your left nostril. Now, when you do this, you have the option of closing your eyes. I find that that works best for me, but you can also keep your eyes open and just gaze at a single point out in front of you. So let's do that right now. So close off your right nostril and just start to breathe deeply in and out of your left nostril. So you want these breaths to be slow, smooth, and easy. And again, all you're doing right now is calming and soothing your nervous system. You're giving yourself time to step out of that fight or flight mode, to ground into what you know is true, to give your body, your mind time to create a new foundation. And even with this simple breathing technique, somehow magically your mind comes off of that crazy loop that you may have been in when you were triggered. So a couple of more breaths in and out of your left nostril. So when I do this, I do it anywhere from about a minute to 3 minutes. That's typically enough, but know that you can do it a little bit longer, anywhere up to 5 or 7 minutes. Whatever you need. Now take a deep breath in through your left nostril. Hold the breath for a few seconds as you release your right hand, and then exhale out of both nostrils. And now I want you to simply be still. And just take a couple of easy breaths in and out of your nose. And just feel yourself grounded and rooted in this moment. Just allow your mind to just be focused on the present. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, of course, and the breath, again, is just flowing in and out of both nostrils. So just a few more seconds with this. And then whenever you're ready, I want you to slowly open your eyes. And I'm going to give you 3 journal prompts. I was about to say to you, let's do 3 journal prompts. So again, grab your pen and paper. And the first one is, what does forgiveness mean and feel like to you? What does forgiveness mean and feel like to you? So this is kind of a speed journaling. Know that you can pause. Give yourself about a minute. And then press play again. So one more time. What does forgiveness mean and feel like to you? In this moment right now, who do you or what do you need to forgive and why? Who or what do you need to forgive and why? And remember that forgiveness may be forgiving yourself or forgiving someone else. Who or what do you need to forgive and why? So once again, you can pause, do whatever writing you need to do for about 1 minute, and then press play. All right, so our final journal prompt is, why is it hard to forgive and what are the triggers? Why is it hard to forgive and what are the triggers? meaning why is it hard to forgive the previous prompt, right? The who or the what. And then what are the triggers related to that? Why is it hard to forgive? And what are the triggers? So give yourself, again, about a minute or so to write that down. Press pause and then come right back. And then when you're done writing, I want you to just take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Hold and retain that breath for a moment. I just got chills because I can feel you guys doing this right now. Exhale out of your mouth. And then just be. Let your breath flow in and out. And I just want you to remember that you are not alone in this process, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a big T or a small t. Allow yourself to move through all of the feels. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to mourn what you no longer have. And then allow yourself time to move through those, right? Don't feel like you have to rush the process and jump right into forgiveness. Like, it's okay. But when you are ready to drop in to 100% forgiveness, know that it is going to be a journey. Give yourself time to meditate. Give yourself time to breathe. Journal your feelings during the process. And as a reminder, go to therapy if you need to. Sometimes it may be group therapy, right? It doesn't have to be one-on-one. And allow yourself that space, that safe space that you can create through your meditation, through your breath work, through your personal therapy, to navigate the rocky road of forgiveness and have the belief and trust that on the other side of that gigantic mountain is freedom, is love of self. So in closing today, grant yourself the gift of forgiveness. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for another episode of Spiritually Fly. And if you want to do a little more deep diving with me, go on and click the button or go to faithhunter.com and join my membership platform called Elevate. It's all about elevating your soul. There, you can get not only these journal prompts that I shared today on this episode, but also some amazing practices that are going to assist you in moving through this thing called forgiveness. Have a wonderful, wonderful morning, day, night. Mwah. Ciao. And I'll see you or talk to you and connect with you on the next episode.